Good morning, everybody. Welcome to my desktop, and for I think all of you, welcome to my office and trading space, which you're seeing for the first time via my webcam. Today's video, guys, we're just going to do a quick pre-market prep. We're going to talk a little bit about where the market might be going today, what I'll be watching for intraday with my futures trading on the S&P index futures. What we're going to look at, guys, first is just a quick daily chart rundown. It's important before every trading day to know where the market is coming from so you can get a better idea of where it might be going. For most of you guys, you've probably realized that August has been a big time downtrending month. You can see that all through the entire month of August. We have just had really no luck with this market being able to reclaim that downtrend. You can see every day here it's just rejected it, and it did provide some good shorting opportunities throughout the month of August. But in my opinion, it's a lot easier to trade the market when it's trending upwards, and we finally got ourselves back into a nice uptrend this week. You can see the last 4 days in a row, nice and green. Kind of started with a little bit of a bear trap last week. There was a really big 4-hour chart, kind of dip and reclaim that gave a little bit of a signal that we might be seeing a bottom soon. And then we finally reclaimed that daily 9 EMA, close over it the other day, and then followed by a really, really nice multi-day flag that really started and amped up that squeeze that we saw the day before yesterday. Just a massive, massive squeeze day. We typically see a few of those per month, but that was the first one that I think we saw pretty much all month. They're a little more common in a bull market environment like we were back in, July was mostly uptrending and August was mostly downtrending. So there's some things to watch out for today before we get into trading. First of all, there are Chicago PMI numbers at 9:45 a.m. Those are generally going to impact the market. So chances are, for me, I won't be trading until after those numbers come out, and that will allow the market to settle a little bit, pick a direction, and then give me some edge to trade off of. There was a pre-market trade actually here, guys, a little hourly chart flag with a beautiful little setup over VWAP, good for about 10 points, but that was just a little low volume pre-market type of trade. Long signal there at 45.29.50 or 49.30, break of the hourly chart trend. Took that for a little ride in pre, but hopped out of it before the 8:30 numbers came out, which created that whipsaw. And you can see now we're starting to trend back to the downside in pre-market. We put in a lower high under 45.34.50, and we're trending back, trying to get under that VWAP level. And we've actually, for now, we're back under the hourly chart 9 EMA trend as well, which is important for me intraday. However, this candle would need to close under that to really show us something special. So we have obviously gotten a lot of green days. These last 4 have just been hugely upside days with a lot of volume. So the day before yesterday was an all squeeze day. Those were long side only days for me. Don't short at all on those days. Same with yesterday. We're still mostly in an uptrend. So, but things slowed down a little bit yesterday. So yesterday was more of a day of, wait for shorts that kind of get caught into weakness and weak moves, and then from there watch for reclaims and flags back to the upside. So still long bias yesterday, but being a lot more cautious with the setups that we play, as opposed to a day like previous day, it was all squeeze. That's one of a very few days where there's something going on across many different time frames. It's going to create a big move, and you can be a little bit more aggressive with your profit targets on the long side, and maybe even be a little bit more aggressive with your entries. Obviously, always focusing number one on risk management, but definitely a day there you can get away with a lot more on the long side, and you don't want to short at all during a daily chart multi-day squeeze day. And then, like I said yesterday, more of a day to sit back, wait for things like short traps to occur, then look for little long signals throughout most of the day. You can play short on a day like yesterday. I didn't, but there was a couple of spots that were sort of interesting in there. Ultimately, I figured the market's probably going to hold yesterday, but coming into today, a little bit different. We're starting to look a little bit exhausted on the daily chart. You can see that. I mean, look, 4 straight up days in a row. If you take a peek here at the 4-hour chart, which is now down below, kind of got this big upper wick on the 4-hour chart, and this has been acting as a good support over the last little while. This 4-hour chart, you can see that this was the trap I was talking about, the big sort of short trap last week. There was a bull trap first, and then big time pullback, and then this major short trap, and that's where it all started. If you go back to my Twitter feed from this day, I talked about this a little bit on Twitter. Anyways, yeah, big flag, big reclaim of this trend, really held this trend, and then that's what led to the next flag breaking out both the 4-hour chart and the daily chart, which created that big squeeze day 2 days ago. So again, these days, long side only. Don't even try to short. Today, though, yeah, I mean, it looks a little bit tired in that 4-hour chart. We got an upper wick, although it's only pre-market, so it's not a huge amount of volume. Starting to look a little tired. You can see that level right here. We got 45.31. That was acting as sort of resistance, actually going back to yesterday, and then today they tested over it and sort of failed to hold over it. So if today ends up being a day where we do finally get a little bit of a pullback on the daily chart, which wouldn't be unusual given the size of the extension that we have here, a big level to watch maybe for a target would be like the 45.17 level, which is really only 10 points away, just because that 4-hour chart has been acting as pretty good support over the last little while. So the big level for me today to pay attention to, guys, intraday is around 45.30. So I got an hourly chart up top. I have a 15-minute chart down below now. The reason that level is going to be big for me is well, you can see it was sort of acting as resistance all through yesterday and all through the pre-market session today. So if we do end up with obviously right now we got some weakness coming in the market. So if this actually ends up reclaiming that level and holding it, then I would definitely look for long setups and assume that shorts are trapped and sellers are trapped under that VWAP area. So that's going to be a big key area for me. Definitely today is keeping an eye on 45.30 if they reclaim it. Look, even if the market's going lower today, if they reclaim it first and they flag it, you still might have a setup here for 5 or 10 points, and then the market could set up to go lower later, and you might have a short signal later in the day. So, I'd be open to both sides today. I feel like it's not a long only day today. We're extended enough that you can consider the short side as well if you have a proper intraday signal. For me, a big thing is just going to be like, do we start closing hourly chart candles under 45.30? Do we start closing hourly chart candles under? I pay a lot of attention to this moving average 9 EMA. If we start closing candles under that, then it would get me interested in looking at short side trades and pullbacks towards that 4-hour chart trend. But again, it's only got room to about 45.17. If we ended up with a weak open today and traded all the way down to 45.17, I might look for liquidity traps and see if I can catch a bounce off that level is another possible play that I'll be looking at. So really, guys, what it comes down to is either going to be like, most likely for me, either if shorts get trapped early and we see it reclaim, I'll probably look at long setups back over 45.30. But I'll be wary and cautious that we're probably not going to go higher today on the daily chart, and be open to actually probably even being able to play short later in the day if that's the case, where we get a pattern sort of like what I drew here. But also open to, like I said, bottom bounce plays somewhere down around 45. 15, 17 area potentially if we start to see some liquidity traps and some signs of bottoming down there with a proper intraday setup. And ultimately just a day where the bias is going to be kind of determined a little bit later. Like, we're going to have to wait for some development in the chart to really get some edge. I find that the first 30 minutes can be hit or miss. I like to wait for a good amount of development across a chart that gives me like a good edge across a few different time frames, just to help make better, more informed, and higher quality trade setups and signals. So I'm looking forward to seeing what today brings, guys. We are going to be starting the stream any moment here for the day, so I'm going to let you guys go, but I hope you found the pre-market prep helpful. Looking forward to seeing you guys in chat and on stream sometime. Feel free to reach out anytime if you have any questions, and trade well today, guys. Cheers.